Am I the asshole for not trusting my mother-in-law to babysit? I have a 1-year-old and another on the way, and my fiancé wonders why his mum is never allowed to watch our 1-year-old. When my child was 2 months old, I went to the bathroom and let my mother-in-law have my child, and I come back to see my 2-year-old nephew putting his visibly dirty hands on my child's face. She came home and 3 days later took her to the doctor because her eye was looking funny. She had pink eye. She was 2 months old. When our child was 4 months old, mother-in-law was allowed to watch her for a few hours, so fiancé and I could get lunch together. It was about 65 out that day, so my child was dressed in some thinner footy pajamas, and we come back home 2 hours later, it's still about 65 and cloudy, and my child is in a tank top romper outside, being held by some random family friend that my fiancé has met twice. Another time, we were at a wedding, my child was about 7 to 8 months old, and mother-in-law was given my child by my fiancé. I come over to see my child, chewing on a ball from the pool table that was in the basement of the wedding venue. Most recently, my child was in the ICU for some respiratory distress, and mother-in-law wanted to visit, so I said okay. You know, it's a hospital, like, what's she gonna do? My child started walking around and getting wheezy and breathing hard, so I tell fiancé to have her lay down because she's struggling to breathe. Mother-in-law looks at me and goes, "Calm down, Mum, she's fine." Her O2 stat had dropped to 87 when she was walking around. She has also pressured my fiancé and I from the beginning to make rice bottles to make our child sleep through the night so she stops waking up to eat because she doesn't need it. My child sleeps through the night now and doesn't need any of that jazz. I've told fiancé about these instances as the reason why mother-in-law shouldn't be able to watch said child, or any future children, until they are much older, and he doesn't agree with me. In the comments, Own Repair says, "Not the arsehole. Girl, that ain't overprotective, that's straight up common sense. She had too many chances and still wildin'." OP says, "Okay, I thought I was crazy, but like, that's the stuff she does in a short period of time, and like even my parents don't do things like that? You aren't crazy. Your mother-in-law is incredibly irresponsible. The ICU piece alone would have me putting serious distance. The rest of it is window dressing to the ICU incident. You're a mother protecting your child from someone who treats red flags like party decorations. Ignoring pink eye, weather, choking hazards, and dropping oxygen levels isn't forgetful, it's reckless. Yeah, that O2 stat is dangerously low. I have COPD, and mine is never this bad." OP says, "They told us that my daughter has reactive airway disease, and she was in the ICU for rhinovirus as well." Shadow Summer replies, "I'm sorry she was in ICU. That's really scary for a parent." OP says, "I stayed every single night there with her. I only left the hospital to go home and shower once. The nurses were amazing, and my daughter had one nurse that she would play with through the window. We've been home for about 4 days now, and she's doing great. She's as happy as can be." You have set boundaries in the past. She has constantly ignored those boundaries. You are well within your right not to trust her to babysit anymore. She is going to give your child a disease that is going to seriously harm her, if not kill her. Do you really want to take those chances, knowing that your mother-in-law doesn't care and will continue to step all over those boundaries? At the end of the day, it's about the safety of your child and keeping your child alive, happy, and healthy. If she can't and won't respect that, she deserves no place in your child's life in a caring capacity. She can have her own version of supervised visitation, but definitely no solo caring. That is not a good idea. Not the asshole. And now, onto the update. Spoke to my fiancé about my previous post, and he actually agreed with me and the overwhelming support that I got from everyone on here, and he said that he won't ask her to ever babysit, and contact will be through holidays and family events, and he won't tolerate any slander, including her telling me to calm down. He also informed me that after the pink eye incident and the clothing one, that he spoke to her and told her that his nephew is not allowed to touch her face, and that just because something is placed in a diaper bag doesn't mean that it's warm enough for her to wear it outside, and I spoke to her about the pool balls and ripped her a new one when it happened. So thank you everyone for your comments. And that's the response. That's what you do. I'm glad your fiancé agreed. I'm glad he has a spine and he's not a mama's boy like we see so often on these subreddits. Look at him go. He won't tolerate slander. That to me is a genuinely impressive thing, even though it appears to be the bare minimum. Absolutely, he should have ripped her a new one when it happened, and he should rip her a new one in the future if she tries to boundary stomp again. Let her know her actions have consequences. Thank you for taking the advice, OP, and thank you for the story. Our next post is by user FewHunter2043, and it's titled, "Am I the asshole for snapping at my mother when she asked when I would finally kick out my daughter? I, 66 female, am retired, but am kept very busy by caring for my mother, 85 female, and my disabled husband, 64 male. My mother does not live with us. She lives in an assisted living facility where I visit her every few days to check up on her and see if she needs anything. During my latest visit, she brought up how I should finally kick out my daughter, 29 female, let's call her C. Now for some context, yes, my daughter does indeed still live with me and my husband for many factors, including her rather fragile mental health. But what my mother does not understand is that despite us being parent and child, we are not living in a parent and child kind of situation. We are roommates that also just happen to be family. Because neither her nor my husband and I could afford places of our own in this economy. We are dependent on C just as much as she is dependent on us. Claire holds down a full-time job, which doesn't pay great, but not awfully either. She pays her fair share in rent, utilities, and groceries, does her fair share of chores, and sometimes even takes over some of my chores when she feels that I need a break. I cook on weekdays when Claire has to work, but Claire has weekends off, so she takes over cooking duties then. She has a savings account for emergencies. She pays for the family Netflix account, and she even spends some of the fun money that she has left over every other month, which isn't much, on little treats for my husband and I, no matter how often I ask her not to waste what little money she has to enjoy life on us. So with all of that background, my mother's comments made me pretty angry, because Claire does so much to not be a burden to my husband and me, despite me telling her that I love her and could never see her as a burden. I also fear my mother may have planted that thought in her head when I wasn't around. Meanwhile, all my mother seems to do is demand, demand, demand. She has nurses at her disposal at that assisted living facility and people who do grocery runs for her, but she never uses these services and demands that I do everything for her instead. She demands all of my time, energy, and attention. I suspect she may want to push me to kick Claire out so she could move in with my husband and I and force me to be her full-time caretaker. I was already having a shitty day, so I just snapped and told her that Claire's living situation is none of her damn business. She started crying and asked why I would yell at her for being concerned. So Reddit, am I the asshole for snapping at my mother? In the comments, not the asshole. Parents of any age love to judge their kids living in financial situations, even when they don't have all the information. The economy is in the shitter, and I think it's nice that your daughter is staying at home and helping you out. Does your mum know about the financial situation? Do you want her to know? Maybe it's time for some tough love. Lower your visitations? Even if she's your mother, you don't owe her anything. Family does not have the right to ruin your peace. OP says, my mum knows about our financial situation, but she thinks that's no excuse. Someone else asks, does your mother's pay include the grocery or nursery services, or are they extra? If inclusive, ask her why she's wasting your time and her money by not using the services she is paid for. Doing that will help you a lot more than stopping supporting your daughter, even if she was dependent, which she is not. If she's concerned about your workload, she has that in her power to help, but emphasize you'll still be around to see her. OP says, these services are included in my mother's rent, but she refuses to use them because the shoppers always get the wrong items. She's very particular about what companies she wants to get her food from, and she's afraid that the nurses will rifle through her belongings and steal anything of value that she has. On Mum wanting to move in with OP says, "Yes, that's my suspicion as well. I'm still trying to figure out a slightly kinder way to say, I'd rather pull out my own fingernails than let you move in with me, even if C eventually moves out." On OP's husband, OP says, "My husband isn't Claire's father. I would even hesitate calling him her stepfather. I met him when she was 23 and married him when she was 26, so he came into her life a bit late to be a paternal figure. When they talked about it prior to us getting married, Claire told him that while he may have come into her life too late to be her father, in her eyes, there's no such thing as coming into somebody's life too late to be family. So while she doesn't see him as a father figure, she does see him as family, and they have a great relationship with inside jokes even I don't understand at times." That's actually the first time I've heard something like that, You can never come in my life too late to be family. That is genuinely so sweet. I love that so much. And fair enough too. He married into the family. He is family. If they have a great relationship, then the more the merrier. Let 1,000 blossoms bloom as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, OP's mum is 85 years old. She is refusing to use those services, and OP is capitulating, she is kowtowing, she is allowing herself to be walked over, and I don't think that she should allow this to continue any longer. Her mum can whine and complain all she wants and try to weasel herself back into OP's house, but yeah, OP knows that's a terrible idea. OP for sure knows that she's doing a bit of a balancing act right now, and eventually that balancing act has to finish, I feel like. Because it either ends in her moving into your house and your life becoming a living hell, or her throwing a huge tantrum, not getting her way, and just exploding at OP. I don't see any other situation that happens here. Though unfortunately the best option is to allow that to happen, to tell her to start using her services, stop wasting your time, stop wasting her money, and just accept that people make mistakes when they get the wrong items, and that no, the nurses are not going to steal your valuables, and that if you keep pushing me and attacking me and my daughter, you're not going to get what you want. Life ain't sunshine and rainbows, Miss 85-year-old woman. You, of all people, should know that by now. You have all the experience in the world. We, unfortunately, don't always get what we want. And now, on to the update. Hello everyone. First, I'd like to thank you all for your incredibly kind words and helpful advice. Yesterday, I sat with my daughter for our Easter tradition of getting together as a family and eating a big batch of grandmother's pickled eggs. And while we ate and made a huge mess, which, if my grandma was to be believed, is essential to the egg's taste, I reminded Claire that I love her and that she will always be welcome with my husband and me. She seemed a bit confused by it suddenly coming up, but thanked me and told me that she loved me too. When I asked if she had spoken to her grandmother lately, she said no, she hadn't spoken to my mother since my birthday. Today, I drove to visit my mother again and have a talk about what happened, and it went surprisingly well. I started out by apologizing for snapping at her like that. Regardless of my mental state, I should not have gone on the attack like that, and I am truly sorry. I, sadly, am the type to bottle up my feelings instead of communicating them immediately, and it's something that I know I need to work on. However, I also told my mother that I'm not willing to talk about Claire's living situation with her and asked her to use the facility's services a bit more in the future instead of always relying on me because I have a life of my own and a husband who also needs me, probably more than she does, but I didn't say that part out loud. She started crying again, asking why Claire and I hate her so much. She talked about how Claire never calls and only seems to acknowledge her existence when she absolutely has to, and has now also turned me against her. She asked if I was really so sure that Claire wouldn't eventually start ignoring me the way that she is ignoring her. I was getting very impatient with her again, but I was prepared for it this time, and managed to stay calm and ask her to think back to her interactions with Claire over the past 5 years and the many moments of her being rude or just downright cruel to Claire. I even named some specific instances that Claire has told me about and to put herself in Claire's shoes. Would she want to spend any time with someone who treated her like that? I felt ridiculous talking to my 85-year-old mother like she's a 5-year-old child, but when I told her that we love her, but at times we don't feel particularly loved by her, it seemed to actually get through to her. She stopped crying and told me that she didn't realize that her comments hurt my daughter so badly. In my mother's defense, Claire, like me, has the habit of bottling up her feelings in the moment and disengaging instead of communicating, unless she feels she can 100% predict the other person's reaction, so she most likely never told my mother that these comments hurt her and just started distancing herself. My mother promised to use the facility services more and, in turn, asked me if we could go out and do something fun every now and then. Her definition of fun is usually going to the casino with a very strictly enforced budget, so we'll see about that. It doesn't sound terrible for some mother-daughter bonding time. What is it about the older generations and, casinos? I know my generation's starting to get a gambling habit here in Australia of all places, but I'm always hearing about the oldies in casinos, and that's the only thing they do in their downtime apparently. I'm not sure how things will develop now, but I'm hopeful. I will tell Claire what her grandmother and I talked about today and see if she's maybe willing to give her the chance to make amends. I won't push her though. Thank you again for all the helpful advice and encouragement. In the comments, Quicksilver says, of course she was upset the granddaughter she was being cruel with does not visit or call her. Who would have guessed? Granny is from the generation where respect for elders was a given. OP is from a generation molded by that. Respect, however, is earned. Grandma has no grounds to complain that she doesn't like reaping what she has sowed. Granny is claiming that. My grandparents are her age and are so different. You are polite to elders, but it doesn't mean automatic respect. My great-grandma was over 100, born in the 1910s. Exceptionally polite, but took no shit. My experience, she's using it as an excuse. I wonder why OP has a tendency to not react in mildly negative ways to situations, since her mother is always so reasonable and all. Sarcasm. I'm becoming a pretty big fan of generally refusing to discuss certain things with my parents, who are generally fine parents, but we have some significantly different values and approaches that I'm just done discussing. I refuse to discuss my or my spouse's income with my mum. When she asks, I go, I don't know, and then say that she raised me, that it was rude to ask people their age or income. Hey mum, what's your income after your very budget-friendly casino trips? I would love to know about that. Please tell me how much you have budgeted for all of your casino trips. And then come and judge me for my income and my inability to slap the pokies on a Friday night, okay? This is just yet another instance where you treat your family like shit, they don't call you, and they will never come and see you in the nursing home because why would they? And then all the nurses will come to Reddit and be like, you can just spot from a mile away the ones that actually treat their family with love and respect because they have their whole community coming to visit them every day. And then you have these old windbags rotting away in the corner because they treated everyone like they were beneath them. And those people are questioning why no one ever comes and sees them. Well, that's exactly what's happening to Granny here. I know I'm attacking her. Sorry about that. I got a bit of rage in my heart from that story. But honestly, come on, you're 85 years old. You should know that your actions have consequences. You should know that if you treat your granddaughter like shit all the time, she's not going to want to spend time with you. Does she need to come spell it out to you and say, hey, Granny, the way that you treat me, the way you talk towards me hurts my feelings, and you should know that, but for some reason you're not putting two and two together in this instance, so I'm going to have to talk to you like a 5-year-old child as well? Why does it have to be OP bridging that gap? She has a brain. She can put that together. I'm so sick of these people, man. I get why OP is so patient with her and then is not patient with her, but seriously, she knows better. She has to. Our next post is by a throwaway account, and it's titled, Am I the asshole for being furious that my husband and his mother hid that she lost her pension to a scam and now expect me to financially support her? So my mother-in-law, mid-50s, has always been a bit much. She's a lifelong hypochondriac, constantly convinced she's dying, despite doctors telling her she's fine. Over the years, I've learned to smile and nod while she goes on about her spells and energies. But recently, things went off the rails. She started seeing a soothsayer who convinced her that her workplace was full of dark energy, draining her life force. She was advised to resign immediately and devote herself to healing. Against all logic, she quit her stable job and cashed out her pension. Oh no! Sometimes I look in the comments and it's full of dark energy too that drains my life force. Do I need to cash out now, guys? Turns out, a few months ago, she met another soothsayer who told her that her life force was being drained by bad energy and that only a cleansing ritual, for a fee, could save her. Long story short, she gave away nearly her entire pension and savings to this scam artist. Did not tell anyone while going through her cleansing. But here's the kicker. My husband knew. She told him, swore him to secrecy, and he agreed because she was embarrassed. Months ago, and he said nothing. He claims he didn't want to stress me out and that his mum was just going through something. Fast forward to now, she's broke, has no savings, no income, and is suddenly turning to us. Well, me, for help with groceries, medication, rent, everything. And when I found out? Only because she confessed when she had no money left. I absolutely lost it. I told my husband that it's insane that he kept this from me and that I feel like I've been blindsided into being responsible for someone else's mess. He says I'm being heartless and that it's not her fault. She was manipulated. But I say she's a grown adult who made a choice and hid it while expecting us to clean it up. So now I'm scrambling to keep our own household afloat and make sure that she is not starving, all because of a decision that I had zero say in. Am I the asshole? In the comments, Adliv says, not the asshole. Honestly, to me, this is divorce-worthy. I had the same thought straight away. Your husband committed financial infidelity and now expects you to pay for it. If I were in your place, I'd be contacting a lawyer and looking for a way to get out of this marriage ASAP. Otherwise, you'll have his mother take and take while you're breaking your back to support her. Fuck that. OP says, I'm really considering it, but I feel that they will say that I left because she needs support. Oh, OP, they'll blame you no matter what. So do what makes sense for you. OP says, true. Given the betrayal of trust, why should you care what they think? For your own family, simply tell them what you put in your post. You are not obligated to sacrifice your own financial stability to make up for someone else's poor choices. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Her stupid decisions are not your personal emergency, and I definitely advocate for talking to a lawyer and going through your best options here. This is definitely a situation where I advocate for a divorce. I don't care if I have no life experience in this area. I'm putting myself in her shoes, and I am having a panic attack thinking about this being dropped on me all of a sudden. Hell nah. She's 56 years old, she listens to this absolute idiot who gave her all this stupid advice and got her to cash out all her money, and she's like, yeah, cool. This is definitely such a good idea. I've worked all my life for this. I've supported families through it. I'm just going to give away my pension, and that's going to do me a world of good. And on top of that, your husband, who's supposed to put your needs above his mother's, prioritized her instead, showed that you were not important and that you couldn't be trusted with information like this. I'm sorry, but what? You can't trust me with your mum making a stupid decision? You won't even help your mum out and snap her out of it, and you don't even trust me to help you out with a situation like this. No, you're just gonna let her crash and burn, then you're gonna make her problem a me problem. Where's the man I married? Where did he go? Did he disappear? Hell no. She is not my problem, she's not our problem, and if you want to support her so bad through her stupid decisions, you go right ahead, but I'm not going to be there with you. This is your fault, this is her fault, and it's not going to be my problem. Honestly, there's no winning in this situation, OP, and if I were you, I'd get out of Dodge yesterday. This is so insanely stupid. And now, on to the update. Remember my mother-in-law who gave her pension to a soothsayer and quit her job? Yeah, it gets worse. I'm embarrassed, and I honestly didn't want to update, but so many people reached out that I have to. If you read my previous post about my mother-in-law who handed over her pension to a soothsayer, claiming to cleanse her of bad energies, quit her job, and left us scrambling to support her, you'll know that I was already nearing my limit with my husband's family. Well, as I said in the comments that I needed to sort through my finances, because even though divorce was the unanimous answer that Reddit gave me, I needed to know if it was financially possible. Oh no, he's gone through the accounts and rated it behind her back. Wow, that's what I'm guessing is gonna happen, guys. I'm gonna be so surprised. Backstory. I had a car that I couldn't trade in because of the shortfall. My honest, loving husband suggested leasing it to his brother. I was wary, but he swore that it would be fine. We signed a contract, payments came in on time for a while, I got my new car, and life went on. At some point, before the pension thing, my dear husband, I'm gonna go damn husband in this one because I don't like him, decided that he wanted to take over the house finances, and like a fool, I let him. I slowly watched groceries and bills stop adding up, even when I knew that I gave him my portion. But things always worked themselves out, so I didn't question it, because in that house, asking questions meant I didn't trust him. Holy mother of God, how many red flags did you just ignore? Oh my God. This is insane. And now, while reconciling my statements, I realize the car hasn't had a single payment from his brother in months. Jesus. The payments were from damn husband the whole time, and the car's apparently been broken for 2 months. And guess who knew and never told me? Yup, husband. When I found out about the car situation, something in me just broke. Not in a dramatic, plate-smashing or screaming way, just quietly, like a balloon finally deflating. I didn't argue, I didn't cry, I just packed my bag for my son, ate mail, grabbed a few essentials, and went to my mother's house for the night. And before I left, I told my damn disgusting husband that he had the day to package his things. I don't care if it's dear, sweet, loving husband, that's not what he is to me. He's now moved out. He's gone to live with his mother, and I'm back in my house. I'm not sure how or what to feel about. I don't know if this was the right decision, if I'll regret this, if we'll ever sort this out. I don't know if this is me now. Single mum in need of a lawyer. I'm just numb. And maybe that's okay for now. Bonus info, he apologized for everything and say he will do better, but I stood by the separation, and I know I made the right decision because when he left, he took some of my groceries because his mother ran out. Oh my God, what an asshole. He still doesn't get it. Lamau? My life is a film with poor casting. I can already see that Subway Surfer background because this is honestly ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. That's all. In the comments, Maggie Stardust says, "You made the right choice. This man would have sacrificed your families, you and your sons, finances to enable his relatives. Promising to do better when you've asked him to leave and then taking you and kiddos' food? Yeah, nah. This farce of a marriage is over. He'd set you all on fire to keep his mummy and his brother warm. I'm sorry you've had to discover this is who and how he is. But listen, how you feel now is only temporary, and it will pass. You and your son deserve better, and this man cannot provide that better. He's a liar and will cheat the family he created with you so his relatives never have to experience consequences. See a lawyer ASAP. You need to separate finances, everything. He is a lying liability." OP says, "It was sad to see it. I didn't even comment when he started packing it. I was just done." Good. Don't let him back in. He is beyond redemption. Yes, financial infidelity is just as bad as any other kind of fidelity. Unfortunately, you will get stuck with half of the debt in a divorce, but it'll be well worth it in the long run. If you don't divorce, his financial support for his family will sink you. Now he can support his relatives and live with his foolish mother. Don't be shocked when he immediately finds someone else to finance him and his family. This poor woman. And she's only barely scratched the surface of the financial devastation that this man has left for her. Sadly, it wouldn't surprise me if next update is that the husband had thousands of debt in credit, that someone opened credit cards in her name and or her son's name, and or that husband has been spending their savings / retirement fund / college fund in some way or another. Yeah, sounds like this marriage is done. I don't know if I could come back from that either. He literally took over the house finances so that he could skim off money to give his mother and berated her for not trusting him whenever she asked questions. I pray it's done. Oh my god, for my sanity, can it please be done as well? This is a goddamn plane crash, actually. Whoa, my brain. Me when I'm having a stroke because this story is destroying my brain. There's no way that this is the extent of the damage. There has to be more. There's genuinely no way it's just the car payment and it's just him giving some money to her. She needs to get on top of this so fast and find out the financial devastation he has caused in the background. Because if he was able to lie to her face to this degree and make her feel bad for it and say, oh, if you ask questions at all, that means you don't trust me. So you trust me, right, babe? I hate it. This is terrible, and I need another update, OP. Please, God, come back and tell us what else happened. I need the details. I need more. What else has he done? Please, God. Thank you for this story, though. I absolutely love it so far. Anyway, guys, that's where I'm going to end today's episode. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!